Most High in Christ. Shalom, Israel. With an Israelite School, Universal Practical Knowledge. Started 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated. We are not affiliated with any of the Israelite group nor any of the Christian organization. All right. Make sure you guys put your name, city, and state. Don't forget to put that in there. Your name, city, and state. Do not forget to sign in for attendance. Attendance is something very important. All right. We want to keep record of everything. All right. Keeping record of everything is always an Israelite culture. All right. Make sure. Can everybody hear me? Let me see. Can everybody hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me see. Everybody hear me? Most on correct. Okay. I believe everybody should be able to hear me. All my sounds is checking good. Make sure you guys can hear me clearly. If not, just let me know. All right. Make sure you put your name, city, and state for attendance. You do not want to not put anything down for attendance. All right. If you guys have any questions for the Lashawan Qadash class, don't forget to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. All right. We're going to get into the introduction of conjugating verbs. To conjugate verbs within the Hebrew is a very important skill to understand. Like this is when you start to begin into sentence structure. So we're going to get the alphabet on the board, all right? We will get the alphabet on the board because the alphabet is a very basic thing to learn, and you always want to deal with the basics. If you want to understand Hebrew and how to read Hebrew, how to speak the Lashawan Qadash, the way the Lashawan Qadash needs to be spoken, all right, you want to start with the alphabet. It's almost like baby steps. You're not going to give a baby any steak to eat. You're not going to give a baby any hard meat to eat at first. Absolutely not. What you're going to do is slowly feed that baby milk. And eventually, when that baby starts to grow a little wiser, all right, and starts to grow the teeth, and starts to, get the things that you need in order to consume the meat, that's when you're going to start, itty bitty pieces of meat. All right. Well, treat that just like the learning the language. All right. It's always about baby steps, especially in the Lashawan Qadash. Our alphabet, all right, is exactly our alphabet, and the sounds of our alphabet is exactly how our words are pronounced. Like this is not the English language where we have vowels, and when you put vowels next to certain words and certain letters, they make different sounds. And I mean a completely different sound from what the alphabet actually says. So with that being said, all right, we're going to get the alphabet on the board. Don't forget, anyone coming into class, don't forget to put your name, city, and state. Don't forget to share and like and subscribe. Don't forget to do any of that. Send this to your family, send it to your friends. All right. All right, so we're going to get the alphabet on the board. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I'm sure y'all can. right. So what we have on the board is the alphabet. All right. That should be nice and clear. Let me know if you guys can see it. All right. But this is the alphabet we have. Now what we have on the board is the paleo, meaning the ancient script. So what you see on the board is the original script of what the Lashawan Qadash used to look like and what the Hebrew used to actually look like. So make sure you guys write this into your notes, but I'm going to go ahead and pronounce them so we can get into the lesson, all right? So we're going to get into tonight's lesson. So I'm going to go over it. I'm going to pronounce it for y'all, all right? All right, because this is like a quick, easy process right here. So our language has a constant sound to it, all right? Our language has a very constant sound, meaning our sounds really do not change, all right? It's very rare for our language to change a sound like the English language. Like, remember, the Lashawan Qadash isn't like the English language, okay? It's far from the English language. We don't have vowels in our language, and we don't have letters when you put them next to each other when they make different sounds, all right? That's what's so great and so awesome about the Lashawan Qadash. Our alphabet, our language itself has a constant sound. So everything is going to sound very familiar and similar to each other, but it's not hard to understand. So this is your ah, this is your ba, this is your ga, this is your da, this is your ha, this is your wa, this is your za, this is your cha, this is your ta, this is your ya, this is your ka, this is your la, this is your ma, this is your na, this is your sa, this is your I. All right, this is your I. This is your pa, this is your taza, this is your kwa, this is your ra, this is your sha, and this is your tha. Now, anyone participating in class tonight too, if you, okay, make sure we have documents, right? And we actually have like actual study material. So if you would like this study material, the school will be able to send you this study material. So if you would like, you can put your email into the live chat. Don't forget to put your name into the live chat. Well, not your name, it's like your email into the live chat. And we will email you this study information because you cannot just come to the Friday's class and expect to learn the Lashawan Qadash, all right? You're not going to be able to learn the Hebrew and study the alphabet and know the alphabet just by coming to class alone. What you're going to want to do is have study material throughout the week so you can study the alphabet each and every day. And we actually have documents and study material for you guys to go over each and every day to get better at speaking the Hebrew and speaking the Lashawan Qadash to the point where you're going to be able to read it successfully and speak it successfully and be able to speak it fluently eventually, all right? So we have that study material. If you're interested in that study material, don't forget to put your email into the live chat so we can email you the study material, all right? We have plenty of study material. We have the alphabet, we have verbs, we have a bunch of words, all right? We have prayers, we have all of that for study material. So what we have on the board right here, ya a, ba, ga, da, pa, wa, za, cha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, kwa, ra, sha, and sa. All right. Make sure y'all take that into your notes. All right. Get your wife, soldier. All right, make sure you guys I'm gonna go ahead and take this off the board. We're gonna go ahead and take this off the board. We'll be right here with it. All right. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the lesson. All right. So we're gonna get into tonight's lesson. We're gonna get into the introduction into conjugating verbs. All right. And so what we always do is we got 3 different tenses. All right. We're gonna get into it. I'm gonna write it on the board. All right. And I want you guys to follow along carefully. Okay. Well, actually, first we're going to start with some subject pronouns. All right. We're going to I'm going to break everything down in order. Okay. Salakia. Most High in Christ. I got you. I got the email. We'll take care of that.
Yeah, Salakia.
You have a go ahead, soldier.
Yeah, Salakia. Yeah, definitely. When it comes to the that part, I definitely I'm really familiar with that part.
Salakia, which part, soldier? Subject pronouns or the verb conjugations?
Both of them.
Okay, Kyle. Most brothers and sisters may not be familiar with verb conjugations for sure. Some may be familiar with subject pronouns and I said object pronouns and possessive pronouns. Okay. Now we know what subject. You may know what a subject pronoun is, but you may not know it in the Hebrew, which is tawab. You may know what an object pronoun is already, but you might just have to learn it in the Lashawan Qadash and so far and so forth with the possessive pronouns. So a subject pronoun describes everything, okay? And you guys also pay attention online, and I'm gonna give it to you guys what subject pronouns are, okay? But first, this is the introduction to verb conjugations, which is going to allow us to study a little bit of the subject pronouns. All right. Once you start learning verb conjugations, there's going to be no real excuse for you to say certain things. All right. Verb conjugations is almost like an advanced way of speaking the Hebrew and speaking the Lashawan Qadash. All right. And so it's so important to pay very close attention to what I'm going to say. So verb conjugations depend on which tenses to use. So in every language, you have different tenses you're going to speak in. All right. There's a tense that you're going to have to speak in. So usually you have 3 tenses. All right. You have the present tense, you have the past tense, and then you have the future tense. Okay. You have 3 tenses. All right. I'm going to write it on the board for you guys. So you have the present tense. All right. There's the present. The present tense. You have the past tense. Then you have the future tense. So these are going to be your 3 tenses. All right. Most High in Christ. So you got 3 tenses. You got the present tense, then you have the past tense, and then you have the future tense. So these are your main 3 tenses that you have in every language. You're going to have a present tense, a past tense, and a future tense. Now, when we get into the introduction of verb conjugations, your verb conjugations are based off of your present tense, is based off of your past tense, and is based off of your future tense. When you conjugate a verb, all right, to briefly make you understand or help you understand what it means to conjugate something. In reality, it just means it's going to change. Okay, that verb is changing into something different. All right. Sometimes it may even stay the same depending on the language that you speak. But in our language, when you conjugate a verb, it's going to change. All right. It's going to change into something new so you can actually understand the tense that you're speaking in. Because the tense that you speak in is going to give clarification on the context of what's going on, right? So the present tense, is going to give you the context of this person is talking presently to you. All right. Then you have the past tense, meaning the context is this may have happened in the past, or they're talking about something in the past. Then you have the future tense, which gives you the context of it might be something that's being spoken about futuristically. All right, something in the future, meaning something that's going to happen. And the reason why this is so important because once you start learning the Hebrew, all right, or the Lashawan Qadash, meaning the holy tongue, and once you start reading it biblically, it's going to help you it's going to help you get a better understanding on what the Lord is trying to tell us as a people. Like, for an example, right, if you don't know, all right, blacks and Latinos and Native Americans are God's chosen people, right? We teach that. And so biblically, the Israelites are God's chosen people, and the Jews are God's chosen people, all right? And that's something to understand. So, Salaki, 1 second. Like, can everybody hear? Okay, most high Christ. And so now when it comes down to it, right, this is what's going to help you understand what the Lord is saying, because the Israelites are God's chosen people. The Jews are God's chosen people, which are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are the people who God chose. And the Jews spoke Hebrew. The Israelites spoke Hebrew. Just like Noah spoke Hebrew, Abraham spoke Hebrew, Moses spoke Hebrew. The priests and prophets of the Lord spoke Hebrew. Christ spoke Hebrew. Peter spoke Hebrew. Paul spoke Hebrew. Like anyone within the Bible spoke the Lashawan Qadash or the Hebrew language. And they were black. They were Latino. They were Native American. They were God's chosen people. We are God's chosen people, and this is something that needs to be understood so we can actually study our culture and study our language. Like that's something very important to understand. Like we want to come back to our culture and come back to our language. So you have the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. All of this is going to give you context on what the person is explaining, talking about, whatever the case may be. So you have the present tense, you have the future, the past tense, and then you have the future tense. All right. So now the most common Salaki soldier, the most common. I'll let you know. So the most common that we're going to teach today, which is I should say the easiest, right, would be the present tense. We're going to somewhat focus on the present tense. Now, we may not get too far into it today in tonight's class in depth, but this is just an introduction. So first, to introduce any kind of verb conjugation, which is advanced sentence structure. All right, advanced sentence structure is verb when you start getting to conjugate verbs, because now you're going through the tenses. Now you're not sounding like a robot when you speak. Now you're not sounding so choppy when you speak. Now there's going to be context in when you're starting to form your words, form your sentences, and things like that. That's the point of conjugating your verbs to to advance to advancedly structure your sentences. And we're going to start with the present tense because the present tense is the easiest, all right? And it's the best way to learn how to conjugate, all right, to conjugate your verbs to structure sentences well, all right? But first, we're going to get into the subject pronouns, all right? Before you get into any type of conjugations, of verb conjugations, you want to learn subject pronouns. And here's the reason why you want to learn subject pronouns. Can anybody guess why you want to learn subject? Well, first things first, all right? Does anybody know what a subject pronoun is? Now, don't get offended by the question. This is just for everyone to know the terminology that I'm using. I'm kind of using terminology that most of us kind of forget if we just graduated high school. We've been out of high school for 10 years now, 20 years, 30 years. Some of us don't even use these words anymore unless it's necessary. That's why we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We teach the Bible. We actually teach our people. We're far from the Christian church. We're not just speaking nonsense. We're not just telling you lies. We're not just telling you something just to make you feel good. We're going to tell you the truth, and we're going to tell you exactly how it is. So just let me know. Can anybody tell me what a subject pronoun is? All right. Can anybody tell me online what a subject pronoun is? And then once you tell me what a subject pronoun is, explain to me why we need to learn subject pronouns before we get into verb conjugations, because that's something very important. Now, the second question, if you don't know, that's fine, but I truly want to know subject pronouns. All right. Can anybody tell me what a subject pronoun is? Soldier, you want to give it a shot? What a subject pronoun may or may not be? As in, like, you may not know, you don't know? Most time. Anybody online want to give it a shot? What's a subject pronoun? While you guys give me the answer, I'm gonna title the board subject pronoun for class purposes, all right? Well, that might be a little too big of an S there. I need room on the board. So lock it. All right, so you two about. Most of Christ. Okay. Subject pronoun. Okay, tell me what a subject pronoun is. Can you tell me? Most of Christ. I see the sister answered. All right. Tell me what a subject pronoun is. They perform the action. Okay. Nouns that are the subject of the conversation. Okay. They perform an action in a sentence. Okay. So those are all good answers. All right. Absolutely correct. Those are all good answers. So in a nutshell, right, a subject pronoun is pretty much a pronoun that gives you the subject of the sentence. All right. It literally gives you the context of what or really who the sentence is talking about. All right. Or who the sentence is directed to. Like it gives you literally the subject of what's going on. So when you're speaking, all right, there's always a subject. There's always a who. You're always talking to someone, or you're talking about someone, or you could be just talking about something in general. There has to be a subject pronoun to it. All right? There's usually a subject pronoun in most sentences. If there is no subject pronoun within your sentence, then 9 times out of 10, you may not have to conjugate the verb, or you may not even need a verb conjugation there, or whatever the case may be, because the sentence is talking about absolutely nothing. It just depends on what you're talking about, who you're talking to, whatever the case may be. You got a question, soldier?
I don't want to say this out here. I need to talk to you about something after class.
Is that thing too out though, soldier?
Not about that.
Okay, yeah, Con. Let me if you need to call Salaki, if you need to call the Captain might be able to help you out too if you need be.
I think you can handle this.
Okay, no sweat. After class, I got you, soldier. All right.
Come.
Most time correct. But now, okay, so
Salakia, sir, for interrupting that.
Oh no, you too out, soldier. If you too out right now, are you sure you too out? Everything's all right.
I'm too out. It's just that right there. I probably need somebody to talk to me about that.
Okay, no sweat, soldier. Just after class, I got you, soldier. All right. I just want to make sure you're okay, like physically, everything's all right, like everything's too out.
Come.
Okay, most time correct. Remember, safety is everything. You know what I'm saying?
Come.
You know what I'm saying? So most time correct. Okay, so now your subject pronoun, all right? Your subject pronoun. Okay, there's always a who and what the sentence is talking about. Okay, So can anybody give me any examples of subject pronouns? Can anybody give me an example of a subject pronoun? All right. I'll start with the easiest one. All right. I'm gonna write it in Hebrew first. So here's one subject pronoun on the board. Y'all can still answer the questions too. Give me some examples of a subject pronoun. So here's one subject pronoun you have. You have anya. All right. This is how it's written in the English. This is the Hebrew. This is what your Hebrew looks like. This is a, this is a na, and this is a ya. If you put that together, it's pronounced anya. Anya. All right. Anya. Anya is how you would say I or I am. Go ahead, soldier.
So lucky. So I was about to say that.
Okay, Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. So Anya is either I or I am. This is a form of a subject pronoun. This is one of the subject pronouns. I don't want to give it away yet, but I want y'all to give me some examples of a subject pronoun. This is what your subject pronoun is. Go ahead, soldier. If you got an example for me.
I got an example.
Go ahead.
So I guess it will be ISUPK, which means I am watching.
Okay, yes. Now that's a sentence. That's good, and that's also
general.
General Shawamar's name as well. Anya Shawamar, which means I am watching. That is true. But now of course Shawamar comes from the word shamar, but that shamar means to watch. That's a verb, right? So, but I don't want to skip too far ahead. But shamar is to watch. But if you conjugate it based off of the present tense, based off the subject pronoun I am, you add a y in between the first and second letter, and sometimes you'll add in the Bible, sometimes you'll see it added between the last two letters of it. All right, not to go too far into detail, and becomes shawamar, meaning watching. It's like the ing. That's the conjugation.
Go.
All right. But for anyone online, okay, you have anya. Anya, which is I am. This is a subject pronoun. All right. I'm gonna give you another one. Y'all give me some examples of subject pronouns. Here's another subject pronoun. All right. So here's another example of a subject pronoun, right? This is your this is your tha, and this is your ha. This is pronounced as a tha. A tha. Here you go. It's written in the English right here. A tha, which means you. You is another subject pronoun, right? So you have I or I am, then you have you. Like these are examples of subject pronouns. All right, you had a question, soldier?
Oh no, I was just looking at it.
Okay, Most High in Christ. So this is you, all right? You is a subject pronoun. So now you guys are starting to see what subject pronouns are. They're not object pronouns. They're not possessive pronouns, because a possessive pronoun would show ownership, like a my, or a your, or our, or theirs. Okay, like that's a possessive pronoun. An object pronoun would be more like, well, you can also be an object pronoun. So like it can be an object pronoun, but in this context, it's a subject pronoun. Object pronoun like me, right? Or object pronouns. What is there? Them or y'all, you all. Like these are subject. Those are examples of object pronouns. And then you have your subject pronouns, I or I am. Then you have you. All right. Let's get an let's see. A possessive pronoun is like his or her. Object pronoun would be a I believe a him or her. All right, him or her is an object pronoun, while his and hers is a possessive pronoun. You see can you hear the difference? Now that's just the English. Now we're getting in subject pronouns. All right, so a subject pronoun would be he, right? He would be a subject pronoun. So he is another subject pronoun. All right. He is given the context of either who you're talking to or who's talking, whatever the case may be, right? Go ahead, Princess.
So somebody knocked down the light in the room.
We'll take care of it.
It wasn't me.
No sweat. No sweat.
I think it was my brother.
No problem. All right. Hadazan and Adala. Come here, Bubba Kushad. Yeah, Hawa. All right, I'm gonna break that down real quick. Everybody take a seat. Take a seat. Take a seat. So now, so what you have is Hawa. I understand. You guys okay? Most High in Christ. All right, so you have Hawa. It's not pronounced Hawa. Okay? Allow me to explain to you how it's not just Hawa. So lucky about that. I'm going to explain to you how it's not just Hawa. You don't want to sound so generic with it. Eventually, the more you speak it, and the more you say it, and the more you practice the language, the more fluent you're going to be, the more fluent you're going to become. So this is your ha, this is your wa, and this is your ah. All right? So this is your ha. All right? This is your wa, and this is your ah. All right? And now when you put it together, you have ha is it's going to be pronounced as, or I'm going to say it generically, Hawa'a. Hawa'a meaning he, right? Hawa'a is the subject pronoun for he in the Hebrew, Hawa'a. But our language is like very fluid. Okay? Americans are God's chosen people. Okay? The Native Americans are the people that God chose. Just like black people are the people that God chose, and the Latinos are part of the people who God chose according to the Bible and according to historic record. But I want you to imagine the Native Americans, and imagine how the Choctaw and the Chickasaw and the Wampanoag and the Cherokee and the Blackfoot and the Seminole and the Creeks and the Muskegee and the Apache, the Comanche, like all of the Native Americans, how they would speak and how they would chant and how they would sing their music, right? That's how our language would remotely sound. You want to kind of speak the Hebrew it's almost like you're singing. Our language is almost like a singing language in a way. And when you speak it fluently, it's going to kind of flow. You just don't want to say it like you just saying it, Hawa'a. You're just saying it. But let it flow when you say Hawa'a. Hawa'a. You see how it sounds different? I'm not saying Hawa'a. I'm saying Hawa'a. You see that? Hawa'a. Now I'm saying it faster. Hawa'a. 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 You see how it doesn't sound so generic? You see how it doesn't sound so basic? It's Hawa'a. Hawa'a. I'm still saying Hawa'a, but Hawa'a. Hawa, hawa. All right, you want to kind of let it flow. You don't want to say it. You want to flow with it. Hawa, hawa, which is he. So not just hawa, it's hawa. All right, hawa, hashemayim, wata, whatever the case may be. When you start speaking that, right? And you can say hawa, shawa, shawama, the borama. All right, or the border ba, the border ba. All right, that was a sentence. I said ha shawama, the border ba. All right, that is a sentence. All I said is he's watching TV. That's all I said. He's watching TV. How I the board the ba. It's like how I shawama the board the ba, meaning he's watching TV. All right. How I shawama the board the ba. How I shawama the board the ba. All right. He's watching TV. All right. It's like it ra'ad the ba. It's like it. The bar of the bar is phone. It's like it. I don't know why I was saying the bar of the bar. It's like it. That's phone. TV is ra'ad the bar. All right. So Salaki, correction, ra'ad the bar. All right. Ra'ad the bar is how you would say TV in the Hebrew. Ra'ad the bar. Ra'ad the bar. So when I said hawa shawamor ra'ad the bar, he's watching TV. Now that's an example of an advanced sentence, all right, with a verb conjugation, all right. But let's focus on the subject pronoun. But I want you to get the understanding of how our language would sound. Hawa, 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 hawa shawamor ra'ad the bar. You see how I'm flowing with it, right? I'm flowing with it. Hawa shawamor ra'ad the bar. It's like a flow. You want to flow with it. You don't want to really say it. You want to flow with it. Our language is spiritual. Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we are a spiritual people, all right? So subject pronoun, anya, which is I am. You have your asa, which is you. And you have your hawa, which is your he. Hawa, hawa. Go ahead.
Come, sir.
It's like 1 second. Now, also, anyone online, if you say hawa, it's fine. No one's going to penalize you for it. And, you're technically not incorrect by saying hawa. But you want to, eventually, the faster you speak, you're going to realize you don't even say hawa, you say hawa. All right, that's all I'm pretty much getting at. But go ahead, soldier.
Okay, so I would say, on ya, how will ya basada? It's saying, I'm all right.
La'a. Say that one more time.
I would say, if correct or not.
No, yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead. Say that one more time. I didn't hear.
It'll be, how will ya basada?
Okay, so you say,
I'm all right.
Correct. Because haya is the original verb, but conjugated would be hawaya. Right. You would say hawaya. You don't have to say hawaya. It would be hawaya. That ha, yeah, hawaya.
Oh, okay.
That ha at the end. Okay. You're not wrong for saying hawaya. All right, okay. Because you can keep that ha there if you would like to. In the Bible, it gets cut off a lot because there's a lot of other letters that may be put to it sometimes. So you just drop the ha and add whatever letter is behind it. But hawaya is how I would say it because it's easier to say hawaya instead of hawaya. I don't like to put too much emphasis on the haya. All right. Okay. So I would say anya hawaya basadar. All right. So anya hawaya.
So I'm all right.
Right. I'm all right. Because that haya meaning to be. Haya is to be in the Hebrew. That's a verb that we can use today so we can practice it. But haya meaning to be or to exist. So to be something, right, is what you would use. All right. That verb is mostly put into place for a verb that you really don't, something that you're not really, okay, it's really a verb that you would put into place, something like that. Like you want to explain to someone you're all right. Because if you want to say I'm good, there's already a verb to say to be good, which is yatab. And all you would say is anya yawatab, meaning I'm good. But all right is an adjective. It's not a verb. So of course, to properly say that, you wouldn't say anya basadar because you put a subject pronoun next to an adjective and it wouldn't make any sense at all. So you add that verb and you conjugate it, and based off of that adjective is explaining who you are, which is the to be, and the anya, which is you're the subject. I am. Does that make sense?
Come.
No.
Okay, so you said, oh, okay, you said Anya Tawab,
Anya yawata,
Anya Yowata.
because you're top meaning to be good.
Oh, okay, so but what if I say, hey, I say how we y'all Basadar?
Right, you're just saying you're all right. You're not saying you're good. You're saying you're all right. There's a difference. Does that make sense? Because to be good is something else. All right, and also you can use basadar by itself as well, saying all right or okay. Does that make sense? Like or fine. All right, one of those three. Basadar means those three. Okay.
And it's how y'all Basadar, right?
Correct.
Come.
Yes. Correct. So now, these are your subject pronouns right here. There's more. We're going to get more on the board. Salaki about that. But we're going to get more on the board, all right? So, of course, we got another subject pronoun coming. So, the introduction to verb conjugations, you're going to have to know subject pronouns because all of your verb conjugations are going to be based off of your subject pronouns. Just like any language, when you learn conjugations, like for an example, does anyone speak Spanish in class? Anyone knows how to speak Spanish? Y'all can say yes or no. All right, does anybody know how to speak Spanish? Probably not. I don't know how to speak Spanish like that either. I'm not the best at Spanish, but in Spanish, you have conjugations based off of your subject pronoun. Like your subject pronoun in Spanish is yo, meaning I. Yo meaning I, right? Yo means I or I am in Spanish. Okay? But now, let's say yo soy, right? What is it? When it comes to, I don't want to confuse anybody because some of y'all may actually not really know Spanish. And when I start getting into like eared and all this other stuff, when I start actually conjugating some of those verbs, I might just completely lose y'all. So forget the point, Salakia. I might just confuse y'all when I start saying yo pray and all this other type of stuff. So Salakia, forget about the point. I apologize. I don't want to confuse anyone, all right? Just know, all right, when you conjugate verbs, it's based off of your subject pronoun, all right? Just like in Spanish, you have like your yo, your AI, your ayo. Those are your subject pronouns, and you know exactly what to say based off of those subject pronouns. And then you would also conjugate them eventually when you get into the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. Well, in Hebrew, it's the very same way. You can conjugate them, all right? Based off of the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. Go ahead, soldier.
I know this not really
I'm gonna get the next subject pronoun on the board too. Go ahead, soldier. I'm still listening.
Yeah, this not. I know this ain't really the like the class that you really can read it, but about that question that I had asked you the other day, did you get that, bro?
I believe so, Salakia. I believe I did. I believe someone else actually asked the question, but Salakia. Let me get back with you with that.
Go on, sir. And yeah, I need to talk to you. If we can, sir. If we can.
Yeah, no sweat. Shalom. Yabba Shashabakata. Right, next level language breakdown. Kahan, Karawakan, sir. Most High Christ. All right. Yolanda. Hadazan and Adalah. Hadazan. Adalah. Write it down, all right? Sit down. The water. So now, what we have now is another subject pronoun. What you have is, you have your ha, you have your ya, and then you have your ah. Hi ya ah, all right? Hi ya ah, hi ya ah, hi ya ah, all right? Hi ya ah, which is your she. Now, of course, same thing with your ha, all right? Same thing. You'll say hi ya, hi ya, hi ya, hi ya. It almost sounds like you're not saying hi ya ah, but it's hi ya, hi ya, hi ya, which is she, all right? Remember, think of how the Native Americans would speak their language. Our language would flow. If you're Native American from the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Wampanoag, you name it, the Cherokee, the Creek, the Blackfoot, you name it, that when they spoke their language, it was like a chant. It flowed. Well, the Hebrew language is very similar. All right, it's like hiya, 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 which is she. It's not so generic like hiya. It's hiya, hiya. Like our language, all right. The Native Americans spoke Hebrew. I don't know if y'all know this history, but before our oppressor came to this land, and the Puritans and the Jesuits and those colonizers and the British and the French, all right? Before all of that, they spoke Hebrew, okay? They spoke Hebrew. Most time across the water, sir, they spoke Hebrew. So when you read the Hebrew language and start to speak it, think about how the Native Americans spoke, all right? You want to kind of sound like that, all right? That's how our language sounded, okay? Hiya, hiya, which means she. Just like when I was speaking like hawa, like you want to let it flow. Just let it flow. Don't make it sound so generic. But now over time, it's going to get there. All right. It takes practice. I'm not expecting anyone to just do it today. All right. I'm just over time, a lot of things are just going to flow together. It's going to flow together. All right. So it's just going to flow together. And it will flow together. So here you go, the subject pronoun, which is she. All right. Let's get the next one. Next, you have your anak nawa. Anak nawa. All right. This is kind of a long one for such a small word. So knock it. I'm not going to fit that there. I have to back up a little. Anak nawa. Khan. Anak nawa. Anak nawa.
What do you, how,
Which is
hiya.
right, haya, which is she. And you have anak nawa, which is we. All right, then you have anak nawa. So this is your ah, this is your na, this is your cha. This is what your cha sounds like. Your ah, your na, then your cha, and your na and your wa. Your ah, your na, your cha, your na and your wa. And when you put it together, it's your anak nawa. Anak nawa, which is your we. Anak nawa. Anak nawa, which is we. Anak nawa. So kind of anak. Nawa. So anak nawa. Anak nawa. Anak nawa. Not anak nawa. Anak nawa. Anak nawa, which is your we. So we is another subject pronoun. All right. Anak nawa. Anak nawa. So anak nawa. All right. Go ahead, soldier.
Hey, Salakia are the one. So they were telling me and stuff, like, where does that, like, the connector, like, that joint come in and stuff? we can spell it just like that, or do we how they look connect?
You can spell it just like this. You're not going to see any connectors when you actually read the Hebrew. The connectors are there just to help you know how to say it. All right. But over time, you're going to have to learn these words. Like these words have been here for thousands of years already. So how they're spelled and how they're written out has been here for way before we were born.
So we don't have to spell it like that.
You just spell it just like that. A knock, no. Just like this. This is how it's spelled. A knock, no. All right. Now, when you're reading it, you're gonna have to get familiar. And the brother asked a very heavy question, and it brings me to a good point. When you're reading the Hebrew, you're not going to see any connections, right? So you're just going to have to get familiar with the words and get familiar with the alphabet and get familiar with the letters and with the grammar and et cetera, over time. So now this is just a word itself. So meaning this is never going to change. All right. It's always going to be like this in most cases. So when you read the Hebrew, you're going to have to remember, you're going to see, if you see a na, and a ka, and a na, and a wa together, familiarize yourself with those letters and remember, wait a minute, that looks like the letter, that looks like the word we in the Hebrew. That looks like we. So this must be anachnawa. And don't pronounce it anachanawa. All right? Don't say anachanawa because that's not how it's pronounced. It's anachnawa. All right? It's all about familiarization. It's all about practice. It's all about rehearsing the righteous acts. The Bible says to rehearse the righteous acts, meaning you're going to do it over and over and over again. Like this is how you prepare the kingdom of heaven. It takes practice, all right? And you're going to do it over and over and over again. Like it's all about repetition. It's going to be repetitive. If you want to learn the language, or you want to learn any language, or learn anything at that matter, you're going to have to rehearse it, and you're going to have to be repetitious. All right? It's going to be repetitive. All right? It's going to be. You're going to have to do it over and over and over again. All right? All right? The reason why we know 1 + 1 is 2 is because we did it over and over and over again. The reason why we know how to put our clothes on every day, because we did it over and over and over again. All right? You guys get the point, okay? You guys get the point. So just like this language, treat it like anything else. All right? So you have haya, which is she, and a naknawa, which is we. So haya, which is she, then a naknawa, which is we. All right? Now these are subject pronouns. These are what subject pronouns look like. All right, these are what subject pronouns look like. We got a few more. I want to say we got, what do we got after this? We have four more subject pronouns to go. All right, we have 4 more subject pronouns to go because in our language, our pronouns, well, most languages are like this anyway, so Salakia. Most languages are like this, what I'm about to say. Our pronouns are based off of gender. Now, some of y'all don't go erect talking about gender neutrality and gender equality and all this type of stuff. Listen, take that garbage somewhere else. All right, our language is based off of gender, based off of the sex you are. Okay. So with that being said, if you're a he, you're a he. If you're a she, you're a she. And it is what it is. Okay. All right. You have a pronoun in our language, and you're going to accept it, and we're going to call you that pronoun. All right. We can make up a new pronoun for you, but you're not going to like the pronoun we're going to make up for you, because I will tell you the meaning of it. I will tell you the meaning of that pronoun, and you're not going to like it. With that being said, moving on. Everyone has our language is based off of gender. Okay, so our pronouns are based off of the sex. So we have four more. We have four more subject pronouns to go to after this. All right? But haya, which is she, then anak nawa, which is we, all right? Now you're going to need to know your subject pronouns to introduce ourselves into verb conjugations. All right? Verb conjugations are something important. All right, here we go. So the next one we're going to get is a thumb. A thumb. Y'all may have heard this before. A thumb. A thumb. Wow. You plural, this would be you all. So I'm just spell out you all. Not official. All right.
I thought I should request.
I'm gonna say you all. You all is the you pluralization. It's the plural you. There's a way to pluralize you, meaning to make it more than one use when you're talking to like a group of yous, like y'all over there, or y'all doing this, or y'all doing that, or y'all watching TV, or y'all eating your food. Like you all, y'all, all right? That's a subject pronoun, which is a thumb. So you have your ah, your tha, and your ma. Right? You have your ah, your tha, and your ma. You put it together, it's a thumb. A thumb, which is you all. Okay? Well, let me specify you all. All right? I'm going to put that M right here, which means it's the masculine form. Right? That M means it's masculine. All right? Meaning you would only use this if there's a group of men. All right? Or the majority, or actually not just if this is a group of men. It could be 18,000 sisters. If there's one man in that crowd, you say a thumb. All right? Like that's how important men are in the nation of Israel. Like that's how important a man was at one point in time. Like we have to realize how important a Black, Hispanic, and Native American man is. Okay? Because of the Christian church and because of our oppressor, all right, and because of America and their customs and their culture and their traditions, our sisters have been taught and our women have been taught how not to see how important a man is. That's why he's on child support. That's why he's in and out of jail. That's why he no longer understands the responsibility of taking care of his family and all this type of stuff, because it was designed and it was an agenda, all right, to do that to Black men in America, all right, to teach them to make us absolutely worthless. And so then we became worthless, even though we are actually worth something, just as much as Black women are worth something. You understand? We as a people are worth something. Okay? Not to get too far off topic, but it was very important it's very important to teach how important a Black man is in the Black family, in the Black home, in the Black community, and so far and so forth, in the Latino community, in the Native American community. All right? Now, by me saying Black men, all right, and Hispanic men, Native American important, am I now saying Black women are not? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. Am I saying Latino women are not? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. Am I saying Native American women are not? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. Because Black women are very important. Hispanic and Native American women are very important and play an important role in the home, in the house, in the community, if it's properly done. Okay? Now, if you take a look outside, and if you take a look at the Black community, right? is in shambles right now, in absolute shambles. All right? But this is not a scripture breakdown class, this is a Hebrew class, all right? But a thumb is the masculine form of you all right? It's the masculine form of you all. We're going to get the next subject pronoun. Go ahead and take a seat, soldier. Take a seat.
I know. It's a dog. I know. That's it. Play down though. It's raining. I know. Raining. I know it's not raining. Yeah, it's not raining.
Next we have is a thun. A thun, which is also you all, but it's going to be in the feminine tense, all right? All right, we're going to sum it up as the feminine tense, all right? I'll go more in detail eventually, but I kind of want to break the ice and break the surface, all right? I'm not going to get into the position of authority or the subservient range yet, okay? We're going to baby step it, okay? We're kind of going to baby step it, all right? But this is just the introduction, okay? All right, this is the introduction. Now, don't get discouraged because it's not as bad as you guys think. This is actually I'm gonna take it slow, right? I'm taking it slow, all right? If you guys have to rewatch it, there's nothing wrong with that too as well, all right? But this is your ah, this is your tha, this is your na. You put it together, a thun, which is you all in the feminine tense. All right, meaning if it was like a group of sisters and you're saying, hey, you all are watching TV, or y'all need to go pick up your plates, and you're talking to a group of sisters, well, you would use you all. You would use a thun in that perspective. A thun. When you're referring to a sister. That's why when we say Yahweh Shema La Thun Ba Shem Yahweh, it's because we're talking to a group of sisters. Like we're saluting and praying for a group of sisters. So that's why we say Yahweh Shema La Thun Ba Shem Yahweh. Right? Yahweh Shema La Thun Ba Shem Yahweh. Thun. We don't say Al Thun because that's singular. If you were talking to a single sister, what I mean by single sister, I'm talking about just one sister. Okay, just one sister. Right. I'll say Al Thun. All right. But now if there's more than one sister, you'll say a thun. Right? So Yahweh Shema Al Thun Ba Shem Yahweh. Just like as a brother, if there's like a single brother, just one brother there, I would say Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Barakatah. But if there's more than one brother,
would it be
go ahead.
It'd be Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Barakathum.
Barakathum, exactly. Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Barakathum. Correct. Because I pluralized it. All right, I pluralized that subject pronoun in that text. All right.
So lucky if I can.
Go ahead.
That's what I learned because at first I was like, why they saying a thumb? I didn't know that, but then they were like, yeah, that's when it's a lot of people around. And I said, okay, I understand that.
Right, because this is you're pluralizing it, or just letting someone know it's a group. There's more than one.
Go.
That's really all it's saying.
Go.
All right, we got 2 more to go. Bear with me. We got 2 more subject pronouns to go.
Go.
Subject pronouns are the beginning and the introduction into conjugating verbs. Okay. Now remember, we're going to do this next week too. Okay. We're going to actually put it into use because we may not be able to get through all the conjugations in the present tense. All right. But just know we're starting with the present tense. All right. Now, Okay, so now what we have is we're going to, the next subject pronoun is they. Is they. Right? They is a subject pronoun. Okay, they is a subject pronoun. Ham. Like ham. So you have ham. Am I saying that right? Ham. So you have ham. Ham. Like. You have your ham, which is they. Right? They. In the masculine tense. So you have your ham. Your ham, which is they. They is a subject pronoun. All right? They. Like they are watching TV. All right? They. All right? You to wild soldier?
Sir. What was it? A question?
Oh no. You know, we definitely do what? Slack.
Yeah.
No. Also Slack, I was talking to my son was talking to Slack.
Oh,
I knew you were to watch Slack like that.
Oh, God, sir.
So you have ham, which is they. They is a subject pronoun. All right? And now ham is how you put it in the masculine tense, all right? Yeah, ham. Ham. Then you have han. Of course, this is the same thing, but in the feminine tense, which is they but feminine. Okay? In English, they is they. All right? They doesn't change in the English. That's why I'm writing it like this. Right? But in our language, you see how there's an M and an N at the end of it? That shows either it's masculine or feminine. Because in our language, we're going to distinguish a man from a woman. We're going to distinguish a brother from a sister. We're going to distinguish it. Because the Lord is not the author of confusion. The Lord is going to tell you specifically who he's talking to, who he's talking about. Like in our culture, we were very specific and we knew exactly what we were doing. We knew exactly what we were saying, who we were talking to, who we were directing the words to. Like throughout the Bible and throughout Israelite culture and throughout the culture of the Jews, we were very, very specific on who we were directing our words to. All right? There was no controversy of, oh, well, they could be anybody. No, it can't be anybody. The who cannot be anybody. We knew who the who was. It's like it couldn't just be anyone. All right? We use certain words purposely. We use a lot of possessive pronouns to let you know ownership of certain things, like my people, their people, our people. Like these are all possessive pronouns, and all of these words are throughout the Bible. And you want to understand the Hebrew to give you a better understanding of the scriptures and the scriptures of the Bible. All right, you're gonna want to learn the Hebrew. All right, good. All right, most definitely.
So,
Go ahead, ask your question now.
come. So if on they'll be harm, and then they, they.
So like you start from the top one more time, so like.
Come, sir. So if it's like they, it'll be harm, and then the other day it'll be harm. Like if you're talking like.
Right. So ham is if you're talking to like a group of people,
Come.
or just brothers in general. But han, if you're talking about sisters and just sisters and just women, you would use han. You wouldn't use han for a group of people. You would use ham for a group of people. If there's men and women there, you would use ham. If there's just brothers there, you would use ham. But if it's just sisters there, or you're talking about sisters, han. You would use han. Like if you say they're like they are watching TV, right? In the present tense, you would use han, right? You would use han to let them know like those are only sisters watching the TV.
Go.
Make sense?
Go. So it'll be like, okay, because I know walk is very it's a feminine term.
Okay, Khan. So what is your question on that though?
My question may be like, okay, like I'll be like aqua.
Now, akwaf is an actual word for sister.
Oh, okay, but it's not like is it so when we say it like if it's many sisters, it'd be aquafium.
Yun, akwaf yun.
Yeah, aquafium.
Correct. Akwaf
I might
yun.
not say it right, but
No, you're saying it right. Akwaf yun.
okay.
You would say akwaf yun. But now that's a little. We're not actually going over that now.
Oh, God.
Because that might be a little confusing for new brothers and sisters coming in.
I just wanted to make
All
sure.
right. But if you want to say more than one sister, it is akwafien.
God.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to know.
Just
I don't
like
want
if
to
you say
confuse
more than
them.
one brother, it's akyam. Like there's a ma at the end of it. Akyam meaning brothers. And akwafyan with that na at the end, sisters. Like that ma at the end of a word is it's masculine. It's very masculine. And that na at the end of certain words is very feminine. Like that allows you to understand what's feminine at times and what's masculine. Just like that ha. That ha at the end of a word is very feminine. Right? If you want to make something feminine, that ha makes it feminine. And that na makes it feminine. All right? Those are very feminine. Like we use those words to feminize a noun or something or a sentence or whatever the case may be. While that ma at the end is, or that yum is very masculine. Very masculine. You're not going to use that for sisters. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah.
Most high in Christ.
Absolutely.
Most high in Christ. That's why, like when you see on the board now, that ham, that ma is masculine. And so now you know it's that they, that ham is they in the English, which is the masculine form. Like you're going to use it for masculine and so far and so forth. You see that na, han. It's a very feminine thing. So that they is feminine. So now we know who we're talking to, who we're talking about. And that's what's so important about learning the Hebrew. All right. Now you know who you're talking about. Now you know what you're talking about. Like this is the context. That's why these are subject pronouns. Like when you have a subject, that's a description of whatever is being talked about. Like if I'm teaching a subject, you would ask me what subject I'm talking about, and I say math is my subject, meaning I'm talking about math. Or you can say, my subject is English, meaning I'm gonna be talking about English. That subject gives you the context of what's being spoken about or who's being spoken about. So that subject pronoun, of course, is going to be a who in this case because it's a pronoun. A pronoun is still a person, place, or thing. It comes from a noun, of course. That pronoun is a description of a noun, depending on how it's used. So that's what a pronoun is. It still comes from the structure of a person, place, or thing. Okay. So now, of course, this is going to be talking about at least, at the minimum, a person, place, or thing, because it's a pronoun. So, like for instance, now reason why I say person, place, or thing because a subject pronoun doesn't necessarily have to be used towards a human being. A subject pronoun can be used for an animal. That's still a person, place, or thing. It would fall under the category of a thing, of course. All right. A subject pronoun can also be used for a city, like Jerusalem or Yerushalayim in the Hebrew. All right. I could say this Jerusalem is good, right? Jerusalem is good. I would literally say I would substitute. Most cities are in the context of a woman, by the way. or feminine. Jerusalem, oh Jerusalem, how she is, whatever, in the Bible. So a city is always in the feminine tense at times because it's like it's a possession. All right. So you would substitute instead of saying haya or haya, right? You would substitute that haya for Jerusalem, meaning city, Jerusalem, right? And then you would just conjugate it from there, Yawatah. So Jerusalem is good. So Jerusalem Yawatah.
Yo,
Jerusalem is good.
oh,
All
okay.
right.
So you'll put the ya. So like you, sir, if I.
Jerusalem is the word. And also, brother, I see your question. I'll get to it real quick. Salaki about that. Go ahead, soldier.
Yeah. So you'll put the ya in front of tuwa. Ya tuwa.
No. Oh, okay. Well, Salaki. I'll break that down for you real quick. Real easy.
Okay.
Tawab comes from the verb yatab. Okay, I'll show you exactly how it happens.
Come.
Okay, our language does have slang in it. Now, and I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna answer the brother's question too as well while I give it to you. So, salak is a verb. All right, salak. All right, to give you the full breakdown, hold on one second. I just want to double check. Real quick. All right. So to answer the brother's question, salakia is how you would say forgive me. All right. Or wait, salak. That wasn't the question. Or they forgive. Okay, so how would I say forgive them? All right. So to forgive them, you would say salak ma. You want to know that's an object pronoun. Okay. So that salak ma is how you would say forgive them. Okay, because that's a object pronoun. And just say, Salaki, sir, how would I say they forgive? You would say, well, depending on who they're forgiving, at the minimum, depending on who you're talking about, you would say ham salak or ham sawalak, depending on if you're conjugating it or not. All right, so you would say ham salak or ham sawalak. Okay, I'll get on the board for you to see all your answers. I mean, the answer to your question. But so forgive them. I'm gonna write it in the English. All right, to make it easy. Salak ma, forgive them. Salak ma, forgive them. They forgive. They forgive. All right, ham salak or salak ma, forgive. All right. All right, forgive them or they forgive. All right. Did I get these are your answers right here, soldier. All right. So salak ma is forgive them. Ham salak is they forgive. All right. That ma means them. That ma is them. That's the object pronoun for them. All right. So salak ma, forgive them. Ham salak, they forgive. Now, of course, if you're gonna conjugate it, if you're saying like they are forgiving them, or they are forgiving, right? You would just say ham sawalak, they are forgiven, right? You would literally say ham sawalak, they are forgiven, or they will forgive. You would say ham tasalak, well salakia, ham tasalak, yeah. All right. That's it's getting a little advanced. Salakia. I don't want to confuse anybody. All right. But it would be ham wa salakia. All right. It would be you would if they say they will forgive like in the future tense. You would say ham wa salakia. Wa salakia is the future tense on how you would conjugate they. Like wa salakia, wa salakia. But that's a little advanced, right? Those are just conjugating. But basically for the basics, salak ma, forgive them. Ham salak, they forgive. All right. Let me know when you got it, soldier, and I'll take it off the board. And then I'm gonna break down your I'll break down your question. That's a good question, soldier.
Another, but I don't.
Go. Oh, no sweat. No sweat. I mean,
another question too as well.
okay. No sign cross. I'll go ahead and take care of that. Just let me know, soldier. But salak ma is forgive them, and ham salak is they forgive. Basically, like that's the basic. All right. Well, let me break down. Uh, so now, here you go. You paying attention, soldier? Now this is gonna be your question right here. So the tawab, okay, tawab comes from the root word yatab, but from the present tense, right? So you have tawab. Tawab is slang for good, by the way, but it comes from yatab. So you have yatab. Yatab is the verb to be good, right?
Okay.
To be good. That's the verb.
To be good.
Right. Yatab is the action, right? To be good. Yatab equals to be good, all right? It's to be good. Now, if you want to put it in the present tense, you would say ya watab equals being good. Being good.
Okay.
So yawatab is being good. Now, in some cases, right? So remember, yatab is to be good, while yawatab is being good. This is the conjugated form. Being good. Right, yawatab, being good. Now, sometimes you'll conjugate it this way. You'll have ya tawab, which also means being good.
Sir. That's what I was like right
So
here.
ya tawab, so you have yatab, which means to be good. This conjugation is fine. Yawatab meaning being good. And then sometimes you'll see verbs conjugated like this in the Bible. Yatawab, which still means being good. And then you have just tawab, which equals good. Because it comes from yatab. So this is how we got here. This is how we got tawab, which means good, just good. Tawab is an adjective for good. You see how we got there? Yatab is the basic form of to be good. That's the basic form of the verb. Then to conjugate it in the present tense is yawatab, being good. Another conjugation of it is yatawab. Instead of putting the wa between the first and second letter, you put the wa between the second and third letter. Okay, and it still means being good. But now you see that tawab? Tawab just means good. And it's used as an adjective. This is the process of how we got that adjective tawab.
Okay. Yataba, Yato, Yawa,
Yawatab, then Yatawab, then Tawab.
Yawatawab,
Mhm.
and then Yatawab, and then Tawab.
Right. Yatab, Yawatab, Yatawab, Tawab.
Yatawab.
Mhm.
Okay.
But that's how we got Tawab.
Come.
All right. That's just how we got there. Now anyone also online paying attention, of course, don't really focus on this right here. All right. You don't want to focus too much on this one right here. That was just letting you know how we got to Tawab. Okay. That was just a lesson on how we got there. All right. This is how we would say it. All right. The way you see it down here, that's biblical Hebrew. That's almost like being grammatically correct when writing certain things. All right. Like you don't speak how you write. Everyone has heard that before, right? Like you don't speak how you write. All right. Like when you're in English or literature, you know, you don't speak how you write, or you don't write how you don't write how you speak. Okay, there's a difference. You got to use proper grammar, proper punctuation. Certain words have to go in certain places. You're not using slang. You're using, proper pronunciations, etc., etc. Right? So with that being said, what I wrote down here is more so like if I was writing being good, okay? While I would talk like this saying being good. They're both correct. Like if you said ya tawab to me, I would understand. But I may make fun of you. I don't know. I might make fun of you and call you too proper. You grammatic Nazi. I don't know. No, Salaki, I'm just kidding. But if you say ya tawab, you're not incorrect. All right. But if you say yawatab, you're still not incorrect either. One is just how you would normally speak, and one is how you would write it. How you would be writing like a letter or something. Or does everybody get what I'm saying? Is everybody following? Most High Christ. Now, what was your other question?
I had it. Well, I guess there would be for the end of it and stuff like that because this is a verse.
Oh, okay. What verse? Is it the same one or is it a different one?
Oh, that's a different one. I don't know. It's a real.
Okay, so that's your introduction to subject pronouns in order to get to conjugations. Anybody have any questions too in the Hebrew as well? If you guys have any other questions, let me know as well. All right. I won't get into a verb. I won't get into conjugating an actual verb quite yet. We'll do that next week because of time that we have. All right. I won't get into it because it's going to take a little bit to actually get the understanding of it. All right. But it's not hard, by the way. The present tense is actually very easy. Like when it comes to learning verb conjugations, especially in the present tense, you want to start with the present tense because it's very easy. It's not hard at all, and it's very easy to follow along. Go ahead, Soldier.
Come, sir. The verses, I can read for you as well. It's Ephesians 4:26, and I just wanted to break down on that.
Ephesians 4:26. That sounds like one of my favorite scriptures.
Come.
Go ahead and read it for me, Soldier.
Come.
Is this be ye angry but sin not?
Come.
That sounds like a bedrock. Don't sweat. Go ahead, Soldier.
Sir. I'll read it for you. You want me to read it?
And I'm gonna get it with you.
Come. It says, this is book of Ephesians chapter 4 verse 26. Be ye angry and sin not.
So be ye angry and sin not. Go ahead.
Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Okay. So now what is your question on this?
Okay. My question on this is it's more like I know myself. I was like a temper. I get mad a lot of times, but I forgive people quick. In my mind, I forgive people very quick.
Okay.
I don't never hold it. In my mind, I'm like, it is what it is. And then I'll just wake up and say, man, I ain't got anything against you.
Okay.
So in that scripture, all I wanted to know is like, is that biblical? Like what I'm doing and stuff like that? Because I don't hold it.
Okay, so this scripture is more so letting you know that naturally, okay, and everyone paying attention in class too, you can listen to this, right? Okay, humans have feelings and emotions, right? And you know, everyone is, we have those natural emotions. You're going to be happy. Sometimes you're going to be sad. Sometimes you're going to be angry, right? Sometimes you're going to be mad. Like these are all different types of feelings and emotions. Happy, sad, mad, angry, happy, glad. Like these are all types of emotions you're going to have, right? And so you're going to have them. They're not always going to be there, but you're going to have them. So it says, be ye angry and sin not. Now this emotion is specifically talking about you being angry, right? Specifically, being angry, which is one of the, is more so an aggressive emotion. But it says sin not, meaning based off of your anger, don't murder someone because you're angry. Just because you're angry at someone, you don't go ahead and murder that person. Or if you're angry at someone, you don't go and just get high to get rid of your anger. Just because you're angry with someone, you don't go and be a whore and sleep with another man. You know what I'm saying? Like, be ye angry and sin not. Meaning, don't commit the sin because you're angry. All right? Just because there's no excuse. You know, a lot of brothers and sisters they have excuses, right? You know, they're angry. And so they do stupid stuff because they're angry. Don't sin because you're angry. There's no excuse for you to sin. No excuse. Oh, well, I did it because I'm angry. No, you did it because you're a filthy, disgusting sinner. That's why you did it. You murdered this person because you are a filthy, disgusting sinner. You slept with this man because you're a filthy, disgusting sinner. You lied to me because you're a filthy, disgusting sinner. Stop being such a filthy, disgusting sinner. That's all. So that's why it says, be ye angry, sin not. Continue.
I think that's it on there.
Go ahead, continue reading it. Be angry, sin not, after sin not.
Okay.
But there's more in the scripture.
4 and 26.
Uh-huh.
Let me get there for you.
Take your time. Go ahead, back to it. So be ye angry and sin not.
Come, sir.
Go ahead, soldier.
Right here. And verse 27. Neither give place to the devil.
I want you to continue to read 26.
Come.
Uh-huh.
Be ye angry.
Okay.
And sin not.
Go ahead.
Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Meaning you're gonna have to get rid of your anger, whoever you're angry at, before the sun goes down. So you can use this for marriage. You can use this for a brother and a sister, right? Like this is more okay. This doesn't have to be marriage, Salakia. And I don't want you guys to think that the scripture is just a marriage scripture. To keep a marriage together, period, is just having brotherhood and sisterhood. It's being a brother, it's being a sister, knowing how to communicate, know how to treat each other, know how to forgive each other. Like this is a point of this is how you keep a marriage going. Okay, all right. And so even you're going to get angry at times. You definitely will get angry, right? And so before the sun goes down, you are obligated by God to what? What does it say?
Come.
In verse 26 at the end of it.
And sin not.
Go ahead.
Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
You are obligated by God to not let your wrath just continue on before the sun goes down. You're obligated by God to handle it right there on that day. Don't wait 2 or 3 days later. Don't wait a week later. Don't wait until next year. Don't wait until it's bottled up and then you just explode on everybody. No, you handle it right there and then with the brother or with the sister. It could even be your husband or it could be your wife. All right? Be ye angry and sin not. All right? Read the next scripture.
Come. Verse 27. Neither give place to the devil.
Because this is how an evil spirit comes onto you. If you allow your emotions to control you. When you let your emotions control you and you let your emotions control your body, and now you're no longer in control of your body. You no longer have control of who you are. You are angry. So you are now angry, right? You are sad. So now you're just sad. You're no longer who you are. You're no longer your Rashomouth. You're just sad. You're no longer Quadak. You're just mad or angry or, whatever the case may be. Like, you are no longer who you are because your emotions are taking control. And because of so, now there's a devil there. Now there's an evil, unclean spirit that's going to cause problems in your life. And it's going to cause you to sin. If you do not have control of your emotions, it's going to cause you to sin. That's what's going to happen. Go ahead and continue. Hey, soldier, toughen up.
Come. Verse 28. Let him that stole steal no more.
Now, the scripture is going to go on and tell you what to do when these are problems. These are problems. When your emotions are erratic, you're in oppression, you let an evil spirit come in, now you're stealing. We don't have to go any further because this is going to get into like a poverty breakdown. Like what Ephesians is talking about is how to deal with each other and how to fix the problems within the Black community. It just starts with having your emotions in check. All right, being in control of your emotions. All right, and obeying God. Don't serve your emotions. Serve God. You get the point?
Come, sir.
Most High in Christ. All right. With that, I imagine, which means to stand. We're going to give a courage salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Amadi, Barak,
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Rakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Bakatam, Yad Matah, Saul, Agwaki, when you turn and face the sisters. Men of Israel, we're going to give a courage salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat, Amadi, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Yad Matah. With that, class dismissed.